Have tea with me. Welcome back to Tea Talk Caregiver 101. Have tea with me. Well, today I'm drinking just Earl Grey black tea. I said it before in another video. It is such a good tea. Very good. You can see how hot it is, how it's steaming out of here. So I just want to say welcome back, you guys. I haven't did a video because I went on vacation, and when I came back from vacation, I ended up sick. What is very interesting is that, when I had a routine, when I got out of my routine, it was kind of hard getting back. So my videos going to continue to be loaded up on Wednesday, but for this week, I'm getting a late start. So anyway, let's get to today's topic. Well, do you know how many level functioning of autism it is? I'm going to give you a couple minutes to see if you know the different levels. Well, if you couldn't figure it out, I'm going to tell you the different levels now. The different levels are mild, moderate, and severe levels of autism. It depends on type of person you are. Like, do you prefer working with people that can do everything on their own and they just need like little help? Or do you want to work with severe autism where they need more help with just verbal, they need more help with ADLs. It's more hands-on with severe level. But with high functioning, another name for high functioning is the people on the milder end of severe autism. Okay, so let's talk about high functioning autism. These are the people that basically could do most of the things on their own. They just need help. They might need help socially. They may need help very little. I mean, it's very little, to the point when you work with the type of individuals I'm talking about, it's easy to forget that they're individual that you're working. As a caregiver, even when I worked at group homes, I had to remember, I am at work. I'm working with no matter if I was working one-on-one in the community or in the group home, but they have a diagnosis for a reason, and it's so easy to forget when you're working with individual with high functioning disability, or another word for milder end of autism. I learned some things working with higher functioning, and I wanted to share, the 3 tips that I learned. But I want to say this: it is caregivers or people that work in certain fields that prefer working with high functioning, because it's very minimal tasks, like with ADLs. Some high functioning, they take baths, they take showers, they do a lot for themselves. But let's talk about severe. It requires more hand-on. So it depends on where you are in your life as a caregiver, as a person, as your age. Because if you're 50 and 60 years old, how challenging is it to lift someone 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds a day away? So you have to really, when you go for job interviews or just being a caregiver, you got to really make sure you make a choice. I work for an agency in Ohio. I'm not going to say no names. And that was the answer. That was the question on the application. What level of autism do you prefer to work with? When I first started in the field, I started on the severe end. And as the years went on, I ended up working with more higher functioning individuals. If I started out working with higher functioning individuals, it really would have been challenging for me to work with severe level of autism. or vice versa. I was just so happy. I'm so happy I started on the lower end. And when I got to work with higher functioning individuals, it was like a treat to me. We get to go out in the community. I don't have to worry about wheelchairs, lifts, and, gate bells, even though some higher functioning can have a gate bell. So, I want to share the tips with you. I had 3 tips for you. The first tip, if you don't remember nothing else in the video, please remember this. Don't antagonize the individual. Don't belittle them. Please don't talk slowly to them or talk to them in a high pitched voice, because they're going to figure out something wrong. They're going to be mad and angry, and they're going to say, why is the staff working with me, or why is my caregiver really treating me like I'm stupid or not smart? Because some of the individual on the higher functioning end, they believe they don't have a diagnosis. They're just like everybody else. So you want to talk to them with respect. Respect them. Give them common courtesy. They want to be respected. And a lot of higher functioning individuals have a hard time keeping staff, because staff really work with them, forget they're working. So staff will just take them anywhere to these places they don't have no business being, and then the individual come back and tell the family or provider where you took them, and they terminate the staff. So that's one of the things you got to really realize. They have a diagnosis for a reason. And these are not your homegirls or your homeboys out in the community. And when you're out in the community with them, this is their time. So you have to remember that. Number 2 is consistency. That means how you start working with them is how you're going to end. So let's talk about things that's not a great way, but I know a lot of caregivers do it. They'll get paid and they'll go splurge on an individual. They'll take them to Sam's Club, they'll take them to Walmart, and they start buying them everything they want. Whereas the flip side of that, let's say, well, it's your payday, and this time you say, Tommy, did you bring any of your spending money with you? Tommy gonna look at you like you crazy. Last 2 weeks ago, you were spending your money, so why should I bring my money when you could spend yours? And you be consistency with services. Consistent. You arrive on time, and they know what to expect for you, good or bad. You just want to make sure you're consistency. And if you want to start on the right foot, what you do is you do everything within the policy, the procedure, or what the family wants you to do. And make sure, talk to them about budgeting, about spending money, about working the goal. You just have to be consistent. But one thing about consistent is a lot of people start that way, and then they get so flexible, and then they start all these bad habits. And what happened is the individual become upset. Tommy mad because my caregiver changed. What my caregiver used to do, my caregiver don't do anymore. Or what Tommy go home and tell the family, now the family mad, they want to know what happened with services. Then they call up to the provider where you work at, or if you're a private case, and then they asking about the rules. And what happens is, if you're doing some things you aren't supposed to, then the family will report you to your provider. So what happens, I tell people, is when everything is good, when everything is happy, nothing comes out. What happens when things go bad, when families get mad, when individuals get mad, then they tell on you. Susie took me to the bar. Susie took me to the strip club. Susie took me to her house. See how that changes, where when we was all in love, we was all friends. We didn't have no issues or concerns. So remember, you want to be consistent when you working with your individual, make sure it's about them, make sure it's about their time, not what you want to do. That means you live and running your errands with them, because what happened when the service is going bad, they're going to report it. So the best thing a caregiver could be is consistent. A family person member is, I would say, if you, whatever you're doing, whether it's bath, ADL, spending money, you want to start good natural habits. You don't want to say, okay, I'm going to give Johnny $200 a month, because Johnny is going to continue to expect it. So when Johnny get his check in the mail, Johnny going to be like, okay, Mom, you gave me $200. I want $200 this month. Now Johnny mad, Johnny angry, Johnny talking trash to staff. So, it's a lot of things being consistency. Whether you're family or not, you want to be consistent. If you start bad habits, or when they're small, when they get older, it's going to come to light, not just with staff, with family. So you want to make sure that, you're developing good rapport with your family and your loved one, but at the same time develop boundaries and also be consistent. Number 3, communication. Higher functioning individuals want you to communicate with them. They want the truth. So if something that say, you told Johnny, we're going to go to a basketball game Friday. Then Friday come, he ready, he got the coat, and then you don't want to talk about it. You just gonna take them to Walmart, because now Johnny get mad because he expects you to take him to the basketball game. So I would say, make sure you communicate to your individual. Let them know step by step what's going on. That help limit behaviors, that help agitation, that just helps a whole lot. But another thing with that is, do not, and I know this is hard, when you make your plans, don't tell the individual. And this goes for family or caregivers who's getting paid, taking care of them. Because what if your plans change? What if Johnny is not good with changes? So you want to just, hey, it's Friday. Guess what, Johnny? We're going to the basketball. Yay. He didn't expect it. It's more fun. So be careful with planning, but also, make sure you communicate a lot about that. And also, I've shared before that, I work in human service. I'm a case manager. But at the same time, when I go do my housing visits, I make sure I communicate with my individuals. I make sure I'm honest with them. I talk to other staff about some concerns I have, even if I'm not around the individual. So when I start talking to the individual, and the individual might not know I know, but they're going to be talking to me like, okay, Shalette, this happening, then I know how to handle the situation. Do not go talk to the individual first, then go back to staff and family. Talk to the family sidebar conversation, then go back and talk with Johnny. Because Johnny never depends on the whole team to communicate. It's so easy to forget to communicate with the other team members, and then you just solely talking to Johnny. Because what's going to happen then? What if Johnny is not being truthful? What if Johnny being misleading? What if Johnny taking advantage? So you want to make sure you communicate with Johnny across the board. So the tips with this is, don't antagonize them. Be respectful. First tip. Second tip, consistency. And number 3, communication. So these are very important of how to work with a higher functioning individual. I want to say, continue to watch T-Talk Caregiver 101. Always remember to like and give us a thumbs up. And also hit the bell so you'll be able to get my notifications. Happy Friday and have a good day. Thank you.